Okay, so please take a comfortable and upright seat as you're able to. And I'll just let a couple more people in, and that might happen again where I get up for this purpose. In fact, I think I'll meditate with you right here so I'm closer to the computer. So let's take a seat that you can be at ease in for the next couple of minutes. And let your attention come inward and downward. Whatever activities preceded coming to yoga class this morning, you can kind of set those aside. Whatever it took for you to figure out the logistics for Zoom, you can also set that aside for right now. And when you bring your attention within, try to go downward and inward with your attention, but upwards with your spine. So you go inwards and downwards with your attention, but upwards with your spine. To set your body so that you can have a sense of the meditative state. When you go upwards through your spine, I'm going to give you a few cues to help your physical body be more at ease. Lift the base of your skull and just gently tip your chin downward and inwards towards your throat. Roll your shoulders very slightly back and invite your shoulder blades to soften just a bit down your upper back. You can lift the center of your heart very slightly. And then sit gently a little bit into the back of your body, particularly into the back of your kidneys, so that you're not pitching your floating ribs forward right now. And you can have a sense of the breathability of your inner body, which is three-dimensional. And with the upper hemisphere of your torso organized, now allow your breath to go down into your lower pelvis, into your lower belly, into the front, side, and back of the belly. And just become aware of the breath right now. We don't have to make this a more dynamic pranayama. Just becoming aware that there is this breath that you can participate with. You are collaborating with life, that your body intelligence longs to breathe you and is doing so right now. And in the process of this kind of breathing in, three-dimensionally expanding out, with your exhale, start to gently tone your deep low belly from front to center, towards your sacrum, towards your lumbar spine. And with each part of the breath, try to cultivate a quality of smoothness where the inhale has a consistent and smooth velocity. It's not jagged, increasing, decreasing, or scattered. And the exhale has a consistent and smooth velocity as well. And then as you're able to, start acknowledging the pauses in your breath cycle. So there's no sense of hurrying over those pauses. At the top of the inhale, you can have a sense of kind of lingering in the in-breath. At the bottom of the exhale, just a gentle moment of respecting the emptiness of the exhale. The receptivity in that state of emptiness is how we then welcome the next inhale. Now, as you're breathing and you're having your own practice in your own home, in your own space, start to let your mind and heart recognize that others too are practicing right now in real time with you. Even if they're in a different time zone, they're here to practice with us. And your practice matters to every other person on the call. And every other person's practice also matters to you. So start to bring that into your awareness and see how that influences the experience you have with your breath. We may not be in the same geographical location, but we are sharing a practice that is thousands of years old, a practice we are doing in the freshness of the present moment, right here, right now. To lay everything else aside for the moment and to be dedicated to the present moment, we infuse our body, mind, heart with the practice of yoga. To recognize that others are on the call and in the practice with you, we are also infusing our lives with Sangha, with community. So in the spirit of that, please bring your hands together in Anjali Mudra. We're going to sing the chant that begins with the word Saha, and Saha means together. So it says, Sahana Vavatu, and then we'll sing Sahanao Bhunaktu. We'll do it in call and response in a moment. Saha Vidyang Karavavahai. So all three of the lines, the first three lines, begin with Saha. And that's an important understanding that we're saying, as we practice here together, may this practice be nourishing, may it be effective, may we be strong when necessary, and may we have an experience of remembering our luminosity and overcoming the darkness and fear. So I will sing the call, and then you'll sing the response, and we'll sing those together, actually. You will not be able to hear each other. I will not be able to hear you either. But I want you to hear me sing clearly, and then you will sing the response in your own practice. If you haven't yet, please mute your microphone. So we'll begin now. Sahana Vavatu. Sahana Vavatu. Sahana Bhunaktu. Sahana Bhunaktu. Saviryang Karavavai. Saviryang Karavavai. Tejasvinavaditamastu. Tejasvinavaditamastu. Ma vidvishavai. Ma vidvishavai. Om Shanti Om. Om Shanti Om. Take a moment to notice how this simple chanting practice also influences your breath, your mind, your body, and your heart. And with an exhale, you may bow your head to your heart, respecting the tradition of yoga that comes to us today, and also appreciating that we are able to be here together, technology supported. And you may release your hands, and please thoughtfully open your eyes. And let's transition for a series in the cat-cow format. So I'm going to ask you to come to table pose on your yoga mat. And place your hands so that they are shoulder width apart. And your knees so that they are hip distance apart. And then with your in-breath, please go to cat pose. And I know that for some of you that's going to seem backwards, but we are using the inhale for cat pose. And then with the exhale, please come to cow pose and bring your heart forward beyond your upper arms. When you inhale, transition backwards to cat pose. Root your tailbone down, sweep the low belly in and up. And then exhale to cow pose. Begin that movement from your tailbone and kind of go vertebrae by vertebrae in that movement. And then continue that. So the inhale breath is for cat pose. And the exhale breath is for cow pose. Again, I'm going to ask you to respect the pauses in your breath cycle. So those are at the top of your inhale when you're in cat pose. And at the bottom of your exhale when you're in cow pose. And let's once more inhale to cat. And if you're not directly with my pace, that is okay. You have to be with your own rhythm. This time as you exhale to cow pose, go ahead and shine the heart forward. And staying in cow pose, please take a deep breath in from the base of your belly up to your heart. And this time exhale backwards to child's pose, all the way to child's pose. And just take notice how a few rounds of cat-cow pose has awakened your awareness of yourself and your breath and your body. Now we're going to use sound in the practice. So inhale, roll forward to cat pose. Inhale through your nose. Exhale to cow pose. Exhale through the nose. You're going to inhale here, and as we go back to child's pose, we're going to use the sound of the word hum, spelled H-U-M. Hum. Then inhale to cat pose. Round your spine like a big parachute towards the sky. Exhale to cow pose. Bring your heart forward beyond your upper arms. We're going to stay in cow pose for the in-breath. Breathe from the base of your belly up to your heart. And then exhale backwards, chanting the sound of hum. Hum. Inhale to cat pose again. Exhale to cow pose. We're using the sound hum. This is a vagal tone practice. So when you next exhale, go backwards. Hum. And then pause in child's pose and notice again how some simple movement and the breath and the sound of hum, how is it influencing your practice? And then walk your hands back towards your knees, please, and reach for 2 blocks to place under your hands for your cat pose. And I'm going to ask you to put the blocks on the medium setting. And if you don't have blocks, of course, you can do this again on the flat floor. You don't have to have everything set up perfectly right now. So we're going to take this as a profile view for me, and you can stay as you are there. So using your extra long arms now, please inhale to cat pose, and notice how this cat pose feels dynamically different from when your hands are on the floor, unless of course you're repeating that. And then exhale to cow pose, bring your heart forward, reach up through the heart to gaze forward. Inhale while you're here. And exhale backwards to child's pose with the sound of hum. Hum. Inhale, roll up to cat. Exhale forward through your heart into cow pose. Inhale from the base of your belly up to your heart. Exhale to child's pose. Inhale to cat. Okay, exhale to cow pose. Bring your heart forward and lift into a quality of courage or optimism. And then inhale in your cow pose. And exhale, child's pose one more time. And now inhale and come up to table pose with your yoga blocks. Then step one foot back to plank pose. Step the other foot back to plank pose. And as you gaze down between your blocks and your thumbs, broaden the back of your waist and lift the base of your skull. And do your best to inhale now smoothly and see if you can connect with your lower abdomen. In these particularly stressful or angst-producing times, many people are not doing diaphragmatic breathing that well. We're up in the chest and the angst of things. So now see how the cat, cow, and the hum has influenced your ability to sustain the breath in plank pose. And then very lightly touch your knees down. And as you reach back to child's pose now, take one block to place under your head, put the other block aside, and deeply relax your lower belly, relax the mid-torso, soften your heart, and let yourself come to ease, to really deep ease. And notice any influence that's been happening now with your breath, with the hum sound, with the movement. What is the quality of your mind? What is the felt sense of your heart? So we're going to use this kind of little vignette of yoga, again, a couple different ones coming up here, so that we can have small vignettes, check in and see how the yoga is being effective in just a few minutes at a time. And that way you can take a small vignette of yoga and use it in daily life for 3 or 4 minutes when you need to. So please walk your hands back towards your knees now and rise up to standing and prepare for Surya Namaskar for the sun salutation. So for some of you, it's going to be really helpful to put your blocks at the ready for your sun salutation. And for others, you may or may not have blocks, or perhaps you're not someone who uses them during the sun salutation. Come up to mountain pose. Place your feet so they're hip distance wide and also so they're parallel. And please join your hands together at your heart. And when you stand tall in mountain pose, let yourself remember again that you're actually practicing with a community of others right now in real time. We are not geographically in the same location, but we are connected through our hearts and our practice. With your in-breath, sweep your hands down, wide and up, and please look up at the top of your inhale. And then exhale, separate your hands to be shoulder width apart, and please come down to chair pose. I'm using chair pose a lot right now because it's a pose that requires our stamina, develops inner strength, steadiness, and uses the earth element, which is in the legs. So energize your toes, your arches, your heels, enthuse your leg muscles. And then as you next inhale, press down to rise back up to upward hands pose. Reach up with your heart, open your gaze to the sky. And then exhale, sweep your arms wide. And as you come down to Uttanasana, feel free to use the blocks as a different variation on your Uttanasana or to help you reach the floor. Then inhale, glide your heart forward, come high up on your fingertips, a little bit like when doing cow pose. And then exhale to deeply bow towards your legs. Now inhale again, sweep your arms wide, rise up to upward hands pose, root down through your tailbone and your heels as you lift your gaze. And then exhale, return your hands to your heart. Now we're going to add to that sequence. So inhale, sweep your arms up, lift your heart and your arms, and then your gaze and your arms so they meet overhead together. Exhale, come down to chair pose, level your gaze so it's relatively forward or slightly downward. And breathe into the strength required of your chair pose. Acknowledge the element of earth in your legs, heels, toes. Earth is also in Sanskrit the word kshama, and kshama in Sanskrit means resilience, fortitude, and earth altogether. So breathe that in, down through your legs into your feet. And then with your next inhale, press down to rise up as if your roots were going deeper. Lift your heart and your gaze to the sky. And then exhale, sweep your arms wide, bow forward and come down to Uttanasana. Complete your exhale as you complete your movements. Inhale, lengthen forward through your heart. And this time, exhale, step backwards with your left foot. This is called the basic lunge. Now we're going to inhale, rise up to the crescent lunge. And so to help the legs be a part of our experience and that kshama, that earth element that we need right now for resilience, for fortitude, I'm going to ask you on the inhale to straighten your right leg so your pose goes up and lift your gaze and your heart up. And then exhale and bend your right knee and bring your gaze down, remembering that you're grounded. Inhale, reach up by pressing from your right hip through your right heel, straighten that leg. And exhale, bend your right knee to your crescent lunge. Let's do this twice more and try to time it with your breath cycle. So on the inhale, you're reaching upward, straighten your right leg. Exhale, return to crescent lunge, bring your gaze forward or down. Last time, inhale to go up. And then exhale, bend your right knee, bring your gaze forward or down. Sweep your arms wide, and as you stay in the crescent lunge, see if you can bring your palms to your heart, and then gaze down towards the tips of your fingers. And if you have your balance and your legs feel steady, then close your eyes. And listen for the possibility of stillness and strength within you. And then exhale, come over your right leg, and you can touch the two blocks with your hands. Let's step the left foot forward. It's easier for most of you if you step forward here, and then we'll take the right foot backwards to downward dog pose. Press down through your right toes and your left heel, and inhale, rise up into your crescent lunge. And again, it's going to be a moving pose. So on the inhale, straighten your left leg, lift your heart and your gaze. And then exhale, bend your left knee, root into your left heel, bring your gaze forward or down. Inhale to rise up. Exhale, return to the crescent lunge. Feel the strength of both legs, not only the left leg working here, but also your right leg. Inhale to rise. And exhale, crescent lunge. Let's do that twice more. So as you inhale to go up, lift your heart and your gaze. And as you exhale to crescent lunge, bring your gaze forward or down. One more time. And then staying here with the quality of kshama, take the arms wide, join your hands together at your heart, and see if you can bring your gaze down to your fingertips, or possibly you'll close your eyes. Listen for your inner strength and stillness. Let your breathing remain steady and smooth. And then as you exhale, bow over your left leg. Let's touch the 2 blocks or the floor, whichever you're doing, and step backwards to downward dog pose. So even if your dog pose is elevated on the 2 blocks, you can step backwards for a high dog. If your hands are on the floor, step backwards for your regular dog. I'd like you to take a few long, deep breath cycles here so you can sense the benefit of your practice once again, the breath moving through you, smoothly in through the inhale, and smoothly out with your exhale. And then inhale, come forward to plank pose again, the pose which I'm associating with the word kshama, the pose like the earth, which means fortitude, forbearance, resilience, some of the qualities that we need right now in daily life. So notice the tone of your plank pose, muscle tone, the quality of your mind, the experience of your breath. And then very lightly touch your knees down and take one of those blocks to place under your head for child's pose. And let child's pose be a place of deep relaxation. And notice in child's pose, you need not control the breath or do anything in terms of coordinating the breath. Just simply notice how life is breathing you when you come to child's pose. Notice the influence of this sort of short little vignette in this yoga practice. This is the second of our vignettes, so see what's effective there for you. And then please walk your hands back towards your knees and rise up to sitting. And I'm going to ask you to put the 2 blocks nearby, but reach for your blanket, which for the moment we're going to fold it for sitting on. So whatever way you fold the blanket to sit on, to be upright, please do that. Now when you take this particular seat, it's going to be helpful for some of you to be a little bit higher. So it might be 2 blankets for you, whereas it's 1 blanket for me. And let's put the soles of the feet together in Baddha Konasana. So Baddha Konasana means bound angle pose. I used to think about bound ankles pose, but it means bound angle pose. That was a misunderstanding for a long time for me. But as you come into bound angle pose, lift up through your inner body, but hold your toes or your ankles with your fingers so that as you lift up through the inner body, you also have this resistance where your hands are holding your feet. Lift up through the base of your skull towards the crown of your skull. Press your knees out to the sides of the room. And doing your best to keep the torso long and your spine more straight, not more rounded. Please come forward slowly. It might help if you bend your elbows rather than rounding your upper back and your head towards your toes. Try bringing your heart forward towards your toes. Keep the back of the neck long. Listen again for the smooth quality of the breath, that which you can cultivate inside. As you stay a few breath cycles more in Baddha Konasana, also listen for the ways in which the earth quality, the quality called kshama, is expressing itself in your lower body right now. The outside edges of the feet are hopefully grounded. We do hope that your hips have stayed on your blanket. You have a sense of home base there. Reach from your inner thighs out towards your knees. Make a little bit wider base for the earth element in your body. And then as you exhale, bring your spine upright and drape your hands out over your knees to sit up like a Buddha for a few moments. And just notice, after one simple pose here, what is the influence for you? And then I'm going to ask you to fold your left leg out to the side, or unfold it rather, out to the side, and bring your right foot in close. So you're in the pose we call Janusirsasana. And for some of you, this means a little bit less height under your hips, and for others, it means a little bit more height under your hips. So with the right foot tugged in and the left leg stretched out, let's just start with a twist. So sitting up tall through the spine, cross your left hand to your right knee and walk your right hand around behind you. As you gaze over your right shoulder, notice that the configuration of the legs in this pose means that your twist is more limited than it would be if we were just sitting cross-legged. So even though you're gazing right, put your mind on your left hip, your left thigh, left calf, left heel. And do your best to keep that part of your pose, those parts of your body, grounded. So really only twist as far as we have the stability of the earth quality in the body. And as you respect that quality of earth down through your left leg and lengthen up through your spine, and then exhale and rotate around to face forward, keeping your left leg out to the side. Walk your hands and torso forward. So this becomes a forward bend. And each of us is going to walk a different amount forward. But I would like you to keep your hips grounded. So don't come so far forward that you're kind of unhinging your left hip or your right hip from your blanket. And listen for where you can have the breath move into your lower body, nourishing the element of earth, the element of stability, resilience, forbearance. The Sanskrit word is kshama. It's spelled K-S-A-M-A. And please do one more full breath cycle. And then walk yourself back up to sitting and bring your left leg in and take your right leg out. So we're going to switch sides. So when you take the right leg out to the side, you don't have to go to the widest possible angle for your right leg, just what is suitable for your hip. Pull your left heel in towards your pelvis, and as you sit upright, please rotate to your left, cross your right hand to your left knee. And as you're rotating, notice the extent to which you keep your right hip grounded, where you really have this sense of respect for the root system of your body. We could say also respect for the earth element in the body. And the earth that surrounds us and is sustaining us right now. So that means your right hip is still heavy, right thigh, right calf, the back of your heel still grounded. And as you root down through your right leg, for 2 more breath cycles, rise up through the inner body to also have this inner sense of optimism, courage, possibility. And then with an exhale, rotate around to face forward. And from where your hips are grounded right now, please walk your hands forward slowly, respecting the need to stay grounded through both hips, except the distance that you can walk forward. And I know for some of us that feels very limber, and for others it doesn't feel quite so limber. Simply do your best, both accepting your body's limitations, respecting those, and working within on the yoga that is the breath, your mind, and your heart as well. One more time, breathing in. And then walk yourself back up to your seat and switch your legs again. There's one more pose in this sequence, in this little vignette that I'd like to show you. And this one you may use both of your blocks for. So take the right foot back into Sirsasana, so your heel is in close to your pelvis. Stretch your left leg out to the side, to the best of your ability. And then I'm going to place these two blocks to the inside of my left leg. I don't yet know how high the blocks need to be, and I am aiming for some support from my head. We're going to do the pose called Parvrita Sirsasana. So here's a couple ideas. You can, as you start leaning to your left, just monitor that your right hip stays grounded. Rotate your chest and heart to your right. And try to sense if you were to come down with your left elbow against your left thigh, or perhaps the left elbow reaches further than that to the floor, how high do the two blocks need to be to rest your head there? And you can set that up in any configuration that you need, or even 3 or 4 blocks. And once you feel you have that established, then float your right arm up and past your right ear. The entire time, I'd like you to keep a sense that your right hip is actually grounded. So for some of us, it means come over and use the floor for your left arm, or your left leg for your left arm, and the blocks for your head. But there are variations needed for this. So for others, it might be that you take these two blocks and you place them there for your left elbow. And then you rest your head in your left hand, and then take the right arm up and past your right ear. In whatever way you can explore that to give support for your side bend. And as you raise your right arm, try to get the breath to come down into your right lower back, right low belly, the right side of your waist. Down into these regions, we would call this part of the second chakra. And the second chakra in yoga is essential to our ability to be flexible and adaptive, to be creative and spontaneous, which is required of all of us right now in our shared circumstances. And take one more breath in through the nose down to your right low belly. And then as you exhale, bring yourself upright and pause when you first come up to notice the differences left to right in your body, which could feel pretty significant. You might actually get a little bit of heat from that, which is the fire chakra, the third chakra. So let's take the left leg in now and the right leg out. So you're finding your way there. For those of us for whom it's a limber pose, you might be going to the right leg in Parvrita Sirsasana with your right elbow on your right thigh or your right elbow on the floor. But for others, we're going to put these two blocks to stack so that as you bring your right elbow down, it might rest on those two blocks. For everyone, rotate your chest to your left. Please support your head. And then raise your left arm up alongside your torso. And then alongside your left ear. And then beyond the reach of the crown of your skull. All the while, please keep your left hip grounded. So you're able to breathe into the left side of your waist. And think of it as left lower back, left side waist, left low belly. So we're really in the region of the second chakra there. And in that second chakra, what it is for us right now is our capacity for flexibility, for adaptability, for spontaneity and creativity in response to life, which means a non-rigid response to our life events. In this case, we have these shared life events requiring all of us to have both kshama, which is the earth element, and to have water, the water element. This ability to be flexible, creative, non-rigid. Let's do one more inhale. And then as you exhale, pull yourself back up to center. You can put your two blocks aside and take a seat upright just for a few moments to see what is the echo of that experience, that small vignette in your body. in your breath. Notice the quality of your mind. And the feeling tone of your heart. And deeper than that, notice your connection to your pelvis and low belly, and then to your pelvis and your legs. And now I'd like you to take the blanket that you've been sitting on and unfold it. You can also decide to use your yoga mat for this. So we're going to roll this blanket, or you can roll your yoga mat. And you can roll them part way. You can roll them all the way. You will know when you see what we're doing how far to roll yours, or when you lie back on it, you'll have a sense of what to do. So I'm going to put my 2 blocks aside, and I'll show you as a profile. So the blanket is going to be for your upper back and your heart. So when you lie backwards over the rolled yoga mat or the rolled blanket, you're then going to place the upper back right there, shoulder blades on the blanket, and then bring your shoulders to the back side of the blanket so the arms gently cascade down towards the floor. And we want your head to feel supported. So make the rolled mat or the rolled blanket small enough that you feel really comfortable resting your upper back over the blanket. I will recommend that you keep your knees bent because it has a little bit more ease for your lower back. And then let the breath come down into your lower region first. So low abdomen, lower belly. And then see if you can invite the breath into your mid-torso. So the inhale may begin in the low belly, but we'll also save enough inhale to have the mid-torso, your ribs, even your kidneys can receive the inhale. And then see if you might be able to have the breath encompass all 3 aspects of the torso, which we spoke about in yesterday's class, where we have the first third of the breath, the middle third of the breath, and the upper third is for the heart and the collarbones. See if you might be able to bring that into this particular yoga pose. The exhale is going to begin in your lower belly. And think of it as a gentle tone to release the pattern of tension, apprehension, the patterns of anxiety or disconnection from the earth or from each other. Think of the exhale as releasing those kinds of patterns, and the inhale then revitalizing the lower chakras, middle chakras, and the upper chakra of the heart. And please do that one more time for a smooth breath cycle. Lower third, middle third, and upper third. And then exhale, completely starting at the low belly. And then please roll to your side so you can put this blanket roll aside. Bring it under your knees. And as you lay back for Shavasana, try to sense when you lie back the influence that you just had on your upper back and your heart. Stretch the arms out to the side. You may go for palms face up. If you need optimism, you may do palms face down if what you're needing is grounding. And invite your body to become very deeply still. So this is the most important yoga pose in your entire practice. This is the pose where you get to integrate and assimilate the medicine you've been offering to yourself. In the process of assimilating and integrating, let your body become deeply restful against the floor. First, you might notice the backs of your heels. And let them become heavier with relaxation. Notice the backs of your heels. Allow them to become heavier, more deeply relaxed. Sahana Bhavatu. Allow the back of your calves to soften, either into the floor or the blanket and the floor. Imagine the muscles of the calves. You feel deeply at ease. In the present moment, being safe enough. Sana Bhunaktu. And allow your thighs and all the muscles of the thighs to gently melt any unnecessary tension. We are not right now needing our fight or flight system. The present moment is safe enough. Saviryam Karavavai. Allow your hips and your pelvis to become deeply heavy, supported by the earth, and remembering the earth element in your own body. Tejasvinavaditamastu. Allow the deep low belly, all the organs in the abdomen that nurture your vitality, let them know these are moments of profound rest. These are moments of replenishment. Mavidvishavai. Welcome your diaphragm and the mid-torso to be limp with relaxation, trusting that in this moment you are safe enough, you are resourced enough in this moment. Sana Bhavatu. And allow the heart and the lungs, the bones of your ribs and the muscles between them to be deeply at ease. The present moment is not requiring fight nor flight. You are well enough to practice with us in this moment. Our basic needs have been met. You're resourced enough. Sana Bhunaktu. Allow your shoulders and your arms, hands, fingers, and thumbs to be deeply at rest, knowing the present moment is not asking you to act, nor to fight, nor flee. These are moments of replenishment. Savidyam Karavavai. And then welcome your throat and all the muscles of your neck, the hinge of your jaw, and the strong muscle of the tongue. Allow them to be profoundly relaxed. Remembering, particularly reminding the brainstem that this moment is safe enough. You are at present grounded enough, resourced enough. Tejasvina varitamastu. And then allow the muscles of your cheeks and your face to soften, to become even more deeply at ease. For your eyes to be inward and at rest. And at the center of the forehead, for the pineal gland deep in there, to also know that all is well in this moment. All is well. Mavidrishavai. Om Shanti Om. With the bell sound, now you can gently begin to deepen your breath. Become aware of your body, the earth element, from the pelvis down to the back of your heels. The water element in the lower belly. The fire element in the region of the stomach, the mid-torso. The air element in the heart. The element more subtle than air is called the ether element. It's in the throat. The sense of space, consciousness, wisdom. Up in the head, the eyes, the wise mind, the place from where you have clear sight. And you can gently wiggle your fingers and your toes. I'm going to ask you to bend your knees and roll to your side. I'd like to finish with a pranayama practice with you. But as you roll sideways, please come up to take a seat. And the seat that you have could be anywhere, could even be in a chair. But I'd like you to have a wingspan for your arms around you, like this. So that you know you have your wingspan available to you. And this pranayama practice you could do actually just as a yoga remedy of its own. So I want to give it to you at the end of our practice here to feel its effectiveness, but you can come back to it anytime. So please come upright and get settled. I'll wait a few moments because I know coming up from Shavasana should not be an abrupt or quick thing. And so for this pranayama, we're going to be clasping the hands. We'll inhale and raise the arms up overhead. You go forward and up. And that inhale happens through the nose. The exhale, we're going to sweep the arms wide and push out to the sides of the room. And then exhale is going to happen through the mouth as if you were blowing out through a straw. The idea is to really clear the space, to clear the windshield of your mind. And then we're going to inhale and sweep the arms wide as in gathering the support of community and nature. And that comes up overhead. And then we're going to exhale and bring the hands down to the heart, which is our starting place as well. Let's try this once slowly, and I'll talk through it, and then we'll do it a few times together silently. Okay, so clasp your hands. Inhale, press your hands forward, raise your arms up, go up to the high point of your inhale, and now like a straw, having cleared the mind, now inhale, sweep your arms wide and gather in the sense of community and communion with nature and with your practice and yourself. And then exhale and bring your hands down to your heart. Slowly exhale through the nose and come down to the heart, arriving at the bottom of your exhale where you touch the exhale pause. Let me talk us through it one more time. Inhale, clasped hands, raise your arms up. And you reach up as high as you're able to. At the top of the inhale, there's a little pause. Now straw exhale. Close the lips, inhale through the nose. Raise your arms as you feel the low belly, mid belly, upper chest, heart. Reach the hands up high, gathering in community and communion. And then exhale, bring your hands down to your heart and bring that into your heart. Arrive at the heart at your exhale pause. Okay, let's do it 3 times in silence. Inhale. Inhale through the nose. Hands to the heart, exhale through the nose. Inhale, clasped hands. Inhale. To the heart with the exhale. And last one. Inhale, clasped hands. Inhale. And exhale to the heart. And then rest your hands in your lap and just sit quietly for a few moments. And feel the blessings of the benefit of your practice. And bring into your body awareness that you've been practicing with dozens of other people. It has mattered that you're here for each of them. In the same way that their presence here has mattered to you. You may bring your hands together at your heart now. And then you may bow your head to your heart. Thank you very much, everyone. Namaste.